Say it's a lot of gatekeeping. It's a lot of gatekeeping for us. You know, what's challenging is for us to be in like engineering, software, multiple millions of us in engineering software, being scientists, you know, being 70% of the judges in the USA, 70% of the lawyers in the USA, 70% of the scientists, 70% of the doctors, 70% of this. You want to know why? Because it's gatekeeping in that. So I'm going to tell you something. So check this out. Wherever we have an abundance at, that's where they want us at. That's where they allow it to be much easier for us. Because see, you got to remember back in the days, if you read some of them slave books, they had them slaves to sing, dance, make them laugh, and play certain sports. And see, that's what you're doing now. Because see, you don't think about this. If you sign a contract with a football team, when them white leaders of the sports industry go home, he's like, yeah, that's my nigga Kobe Bryant. You see what he did for me? Oh, that's my nigga Beast Mode. You see what he did for me? Oh, that's my nigga right there. That's my slave Mike Tyson. That's my slave Jordan. That's what these white people in the groups who own these things go sit down and brag about how they had their slave to do this, and how good was his slave, and how good was the slave that he drafted, and how good was that slave he drafted, and how good was that slave he picked the box, how good was that slave he picked to run the ball or catch the ball. Because see, the universe creator don't create boxers. They don't create wide receivers. They don't create quarterbacks. They don't create nothing that don't help out life. They create scientists. They create doctors. They create things like that that helps out life. But see, in the USA, they keep you in a certain narrative so they can know which way you go and where you going. And where you going is all sports, all entertainment, rapping, singing, dancing, making people laugh. See, that's easy to control somebody. They know exactly where you at. You right there where they want you to be. But then if you try to be a doctor, they try to make it hard on you. You know, I read a book and it said that the reason why they came up with this thing called a bar, right? The bar is because black people want to start being in the judicial branches. So they came up with making a test so they have to pass a certain test in order to get inside to being a lawyer or a judge, or even in the clinical classes when you take to be a nurse. They used to didn't have that for white people. See, our people don't read enough. They be watching too many shows, watching too many sports, and not paying attention to what's going on. But see, you're gonna have to wake up one day, because if you don't wake up, mentally slave is worse than physical slave. Because that means you can do the next 300, 400, 500 years and make somebody a slave in the next 300, 400, 500 years. Because they got us right where they want us at. Not me, but some of y'all, or most of y'all.